Black Culture Podcast. I am the Willie Ashford. That is.
Price. What's good?
What's going on, everybody? Thank you. If you're out there streaming, thank you for listening to us on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart. I think I got TikTok. Well, I don't know if you're streaming on TikTok, but if you're listening, follow us on
YouTube.
TikTok. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter at the Black Culture Podcast. Make sure you guys check out our videos. We got a lot of content in there for you guys. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that notification button and subscribe, man. We got a nice, quick topic tonight, man. Or today, whenever you're listening or streaming. But Dave Chappelle has finally broke his silence and he has responded to all of the criticism that he's gotten from the LGBTQ and transgender community because of his special, The Closer. And like Dave Chappelle, he didn't respond with hostility. He didn't respond with violence. He just responded calm, cool, collective. I think they are going to figure out, this is not a person that you could take out of character. I think that's what I'm going to use that one. A lot of people with this pressure may have broke by now, would have said something to add fuel to the fire. But Dave, he's very strategic in what he does. I don't know if you noticed that, Price. He's very, my bad, I put the government out there. Price. He's very strategic in what he does. He sits back. And that's one thing, like, if anything I can learn from him, I can take from him is that he doesn't just react. He sits back, he watches, he pays attention, calculates it, and everything is perfectly calculated when he responds. And I love that, man. What do you think?
Yeah, man. So, it's just what you said, bro. Like, I love how when he has something to say, he says it in front of an audience.
Yep. No Twitter, no tweet, none of that. Nope.
Yeah, no, and he gets paid for it. Like, think about that. Like, if I'm gonna respond, I'm gonna get paid for it.
Genius,
and
man.
Not only that, it's his fans, so they're gonna agree with him, right? And he's gonna tell his story the way he wants to tell this story. Like, that's got to be the dopest way to respond. Like, I'm gonna respond on stage in front of an audience while I'm getting paid. I'm gonna tell my side of the story and have everybody laughing at you.
Yep. and the genius things about it, and I don't know if, and I never thought I would say this, definitely about a Black person, right? Bro, I don't think Dave Chappelle can be canceled. I may think he may be the very 1%, maybe, I could be wrong, of African-American entertainers that you just can't cancel. I think if you want to cancel Kevin Hart, you may be able to. But for some reason, I think they're understanding this. But let's get into it because we're gonna give our takes on it. But what stood out to me in that response is that he said, "Man, they told me that they wanted to meet up. I was invited to meet up at the Netflix headquarters." He said that wasn't true, but he said, even if we do meet up, I don't know what it's there to talk about. I said what I said, and obviously you guys said what you said. And I don't know if I told you this earlier, Price. I came across a podcast earlier. It's from someone from the LGBTQ community. And as they were talking, they were breaking it down. And one of the first things she said, she like others, I'd never seen the special. So I didn't want to react to it like others. And that stood out to me. I'm like, man, how many people in that community hasn't even seen the special? They're just reacting to because of what the other communities have said. Haven't even seen it. And it's a lot of people. So when they said, you know what, I haven't even seen it. So I watched it before I made this video. But she broke it down so clearly. She's like, everything he's saying makes sense. I don't see why people are really upset. And she was like, and what I think is being lost in this is that he brought awareness to, they made someone or was part of the reason why someone from that community committed suicide. And nobody's talking about that. They're so focused on his comments towards that community, not that they were influence on someone from that community taking their own life.
Right.
He was like, she was like, we all missed the message in that. We're so focused on counseling him that we're not focused on that person had a daughter, I think had a daughter.
Yeah.
Now they're without a parent. And it was just so profound because, listen, man, Dave Chappelle is, to me, the face of equality. Because think about this. He's made jokes about Black people. He's made jokes about white people. He's made jokes about LGBTQ people. He's made jokes about Asian and Korean people. He's made jokes about literally every culture. He's not just taking and wailing on one of them. Literally every culture he did. To me, is that not equal quality? Is that not equal?
That's funny. I never looked at it like that. So you're saying he's equally telling jokes about everybody.
Think about it. Chappelle show was a mixture of white jokes, Black jokes. I'm not sure if Chappelle show he was doing the Asian Korean jokes, but I know now in his comedy he's doing it. Like he's doing jokes about everybody. Yeah. So to me, I just wonder, what if the Black community came out and said, you know what, man, Dave, we not cool with you making these jokes about us. We want to counsel you. Would there be an uproar? Would there be a pep rally? I'm going to say this because I don't know if I sent it to you. I'm going to let you give yours. There was a pep rally that was supposed to be going to Netflix and stand out front. The leader of that rally, that was leading the rally, pretty much saying Dave Chappelle should be canceled. All those Netflix employees should walk out and quit, right? They went back on their Twitter and found Asian hate tweets. The leader that was going to lead them there to try to protest, to get those people to quit their jobs because of what Dave Chappelle said. In 2018, 2019, they found tweets, anti-Asian hate tweets, Latino hate tweets, like Mexican, like she literally said, I can't stand Mexicans. Like that's what, and as I thought of, I'm like, wow, all you doing is making his point. You just made his point. Yeah. Like, this is like, imagine, and I just thought it would be funny. Like, what if while they're pep rallying, protesting in front of Netflix, like the Asian community should just come and protest against them because your leader, that's what I thought. Like, that's how I wanted to go down. And I think Dave Chappelle should have went on stage and he should have just had the one guy that's on Twitter that just does this. He should have just had that playing the whole time. Dave, don't say nothing. Just have my man up there doing this the whole time. Like, exactly. You see it? I'm done. That's my take on
it. That's funny, bro. It's funny because I think it was a woman, right? That was kind of leading the charge. Didn't she also tweet some homophobic slurs as well?
Yep.
I'm not going to repeat what she said, but interesting. You said that Dave Chappelle can't be canceled, and the woman who hadn't watched his special, because if you remember in that clip you sent me, and I had seen it, he said, I got some conditions if y'all want to meet up. He said, first of all, we're going to meet at a place of my choosing, at the time of my choosing. He said, but you would have had to have watched my special, The Closer, from beginning to end. Because for you to just say, and a lot of people do that, they'll see something trending on social media, and from what they see in that, whether it's a tweet, whether it's a post, whether it's a video clip, they'll form an opinion and comment on it and kind of join the herd, versus going back to do their research. And I've seen celebrities do that, and people are like, they have no clue what they're talking about. They don't know the full story. So if you haven't watched The Closer, and I'm even saying this to our audience, if you haven't watched The Closer, and I wasn't one of those people that jumped on it and watched it right away. I did notice all of the commentary surrounding it when it first came out. And honestly, I didn't hear anything but how great it was. It's like, man, this dude is a genius and this and that's okay. Let me check it out. I watched it. There was nothing in that special that was, and this is just in my opinion, because he, like you said, he talked about everybody. Nothing in that special that he said that was in any way a direct offense towards the LGBTQ community. Like I was watching it, waiting for what he was going to say. And there was nothing that he said that was any different from any of the things he said for the past 30 years that he's been doing comedy. In fact,
to me, in that whole skit, his worst joke wasn't even towards the LGBTQ community. To me, one of his worst jokes that I thought was towards the Me Too movement, but nobody's even talking about that one. They're so focused on that one community.
Bro, he said worse stuff about Michael Jackson, in my opinion. But look, like you said, if you want to create a campaign around canceling somebody, all you got to do is get some followers. Just like if you want to build your IG page, it doesn't matter what the hell your IG page is about. It doesn't matter what your TikTok is about. Because I've seen TikToks with content I think is horrible, but they got 100,000 people that are following it. So that's not the hard thing to do. But the question is the basis of their wanting to cancel Dave Chappelle, does it have any logical evidence? Because if that's the case, you should have canceled him a long time ago, because he's been talking. Look, you ever heard a joke where he talked about how his wife has gay friends? And he was like, I ain't got nothing against gay people, but they just rude people. Like, they have no manners. Like, his wife is Asian, right?
He makes Asian jokes.
He makes well, he doesn't actually crack a whole lot of them. To me, he cracks more stuff about Black people, which he's Black, so he should be able to do that. Like, if you look at any comedian in any community, a lot of the jokes that they crack are based on their own culture. And the reason why that is because they have the experience with that culture. Like, Dave Chappelle should be able to talk about some of the stuff that we do. I don't see anybody getting mad at that. Why? Because, look, man, at the end of the day, one, brilliant response. Again, like I said, I love how he comes out, says his side of the story in front of the audience and lets them be the judge. I think it would be a different response if he was like at home, like you and I, just making a video. But the other thing is this: what good would it do to cancel Dave Chappelle? Like, that is a very valid question. Like, what is that going to do? What is
I literally thought of that too. Like, what would be the point? Like, why? Like, what would we get out of that?
I can't think of anything except maybe they get some sort of social satisfaction in the fact that they brought down somebody so popular, and now they think that they have the power to just cancel people at will. But like you said, for them to be such a look, I'm not involved in the LGBTQ at all. I don't even have friends that I know are involved in it. I'm not against them in any way, and I'm saying that simply because I can't speak to their struggle or what it is that they do. What he said in a special that was profound, that has gone over a lot of people's heads. He said, "I'm not mad at you guys." He said, as a Black person and as Black people, we're just trying to figure out how you guys are able to progress so much faster than we are. That went over a lot of people's heads, and that's literally not being talked about. It's almost like in the John Gruden case. If you guys haven't watched that video, go check that one out, where the original narrative behind John Gruden, this was before he was fired, the original narrative was racist comments he made in an email. But when he got fired, the story came out, the racism part had been excluded, and it was all about homophobia. It was about things that he said about the commissioner. And you didn't see any of the racist part in the headlines, completely excluding it. And that was done on purpose. They don't make mistakes of what they release out in the media. Basically saying that if you make a racist comment, you can call a Black person whatever you want. And this is what Dave Chappelle said: you can shoot an unarmed Black person and kill them. But if you hurt a gay person's feelings, if you hurt somebody from the LGBTQ community's feelings, you'll get canceled.
That's that awareness we're talking about that they don't want him to bring. That's awareness, because guess what? Dave Chappelle is right now considered the GOAT right now, right? So if Dave Chappelle said, what is he going to do? Arguably, yeah. Right? So what if Dave Chappelle's, if he's doing that, right? A lot of young comedians, he's going to influence them and they're going to start doing that. And they don't want that train to start rolling like that because that's the type of impact that he has. And
yeah,
I think
and
that's what they're trying to nip in the bud, as cliche as that sound. I think that's what they're trying to do now.
so what do you think? Because Netflix is in between a rock and a hard place. They want to stand behind him for the reason that he's made them so much money. Like, let's be clear, this is a business move, right? And I honestly think the more the LGBTQ community, or I shouldn't even say the LGBTQ, the transgender community goes at Dave Chappelle, I'm guarantee you that the streams of the closer are going up because it's causing more people. So they really don't want to take it down. The other thing that he said, and we can wrap up after this, is he said y'all wanted a safe place to go to work. He said, well, as far as I can tell, I'm the only one that can't go into the office right now. So how is it that y'all don't have a safe place to go to work? But I think they're caught in between a rock and a hard place because in a way, they don't want that type of publicity surrounding them, where they have employees who are basically committing mutiny on site at the company. So they're getting flack for that. But at the same time, they got a great business partner in Dave Chappelle because he's made them so much money and they want to stand by him. So my question to you, Willie, is how do you think this evolves going forward?
I think Netflix has thought about canceling him. But again, it's a lot that goes into it why they won't. One, I think to me, I think it's based off his knowledge of what he knows about Netflix. I think he knows something too. Let's be honest. If his name was not Dave Chappelle, who was not who he was, if he was your average community, he would have been canceled a long time ago.
Of course.
They wouldn't, he wouldn't have lasted, right? But like you said, listen, for the most part, all publicity is good publicity because what's happening? Why the closer was released when? Like almost a month ago, right? The closer was released almost a month ago.
Yeah.
There's things that's been released on Netflix since then. We're still talking about it. I'm talking about new releases on Netflix. I'm literally have Netflix pause on my TV right now. It's new releases, but we're still talking about that. And the more they talk about it, the more it builds revenue, the more it gets views, the more it's all about clicks. So of course, Netflix we could, but why would we?
Yeah, exactly. And,
so I don't think so. I think if they could, I think they would put him on stage, do another special.
You know what? You just brought up a really great point. I didn't even think about this. Think about the ecosystem of Netflix. So when they first started, they were using other people's content, but now they are purchasing and developing their own. But here's the thing. Those monthly memberships, however many subscribers they have, adds up to monthly and annual revenue, right? So I don't know how much they're bringing in, but let's just say it's north of $100 million a month. The employees that they have there, that's what's helping to pay them to pay their bills. Dave Chappelle has been one of the biggest money earners for Netflix over the past couple of years. Why would you cancel one of your biggest money earners? Do you understand? And then on top of that, think about the message you would be sending as far as
going forward.
Comedians and content creators who are artists who want to have the freedom to express themselves, just like the transgender community wants to have the freedom to express themselves. Would they even feel comfortable coming over to Netflix to be able to stream their content or their creativity, their artistic expression, which could lead to a downfall and a downward spiral? And one thing I haven't checked Netflix's stock price because I don't own any Netflix, but I'm wondering what it would do to their stock if they canceled Dave Chappelle. Because I guarantee you, when Dave Chappelle announced his specials, and I don't want to use the word guarantee, I'm guessing that once he announced the specials, those stock prices shot up because they know more people who are on the fence about possibly subscribing, because people subscribe and unsubscribe to Netflix all the time, just like they do with other streaming services, because there's no contract. So you can get on, you can get off, blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you that stock went up because of the amount of streams. Like more streams equals more revenue, right? So if you got a big money earner like that, who has that much support, now let's be clear, he is who he is because of his support, and he has a solid fan base. So Dave Chappelle honestly could go anywhere. He doesn't have to just go to Netflix. Like, he could literally take that to HBO right now, and they wouldn't say shit.
Nope.
Seriously. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff they have on HBO compared to the stuff they have on Netflix, boy, if you want to talk about canceling somebody, let's be clear. So, but he chose them. But it's interesting because you would cancel one of your biggest profit centers to have hit the network in a long time. What would that say for other people coming in? Because there's a lot of up and coming comedians. There's a lot of up and coming actors. There's a lot of great series that are out there that Netflix wants to get their hands on. Look, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be done. I believe it was HBO. I believe. I could be wrong. But when he did that special, he literally got on stage and basically convinced an entire network to pay him back money in a 20-minute segment, bro. Think about that. Think about how much power this man has. He got on stage and said, I remember being in that meeting and they asked me, what do we need you for? And all these years later, all of a sudden they want to stream my content and make money off of it and not pay me. So now I ask you, what do you need me for? And he said this to his fans. He said, if you've ever been a fan of Dave Chappelle, I encourage you not to watch. And you know what? They didn't. And they saw the money that they were losing. So they reached a deal. If he can do that, bro, you really think you can cancel this dude?
Right.
You really think you can cancel him? He can go anywhere. Dude can literally start his own network. And fans would come over there. He could say whatever he wants. So, yeah, Dave Chappelle is probably not going to be canceled. But it is interesting, and I really want to see how this plays out, because I honestly think that they're looking at it from a very myopic point of view, and they're so focused on canceling someone that they're not hearing his points and his actual intentions that he made in that special. He says one thing, but they're taking it another way. That's my take.
Yeah, and I'm gonna close out with this, man. One thing I think Netflix knows is, I don't know if you noticed, the thing for a comedian right now, definitely up and coming comedians and comedians that are like really making a name for themselves, is to have a Netflix special. That's like a big thing in that field, you know, get a Netflix special, you know, like not just a special, you want your special on Netflix. So they're looking at that too. Like, if we do this today, this may affect other up and coming comedians or other comedians, you know, that wants their special. But this last thing I'm gonna say, we need more people like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is a person that said what he said and he's sticking to it. He's not altering. He's not calling an audible because of pressure, because of what the media is saying, because of what the outside world is saying. Man, listen, any man, woman, boy, or girl, take what Dave Chappelle is doing right now. Look at what he's doing. I said in the beginning of this video, out of all the chaos, mean things that's being said to him, people calling him out, I'm sure he's gotten hate mail, hate tweets, emails, everything. He hasn't said a word, right? Didn't say a word. He sat back, let whatever happen, happen. And he sat back, he calculated everything. And then when the time was right, when he was ready, then he spoke and said something. I think as a community, that's what we should do. Let's stop being so quick to react to every criticism, every adversity that's come to us. Let's stop, like, sit back, watch things unfold, see what happens, and then make your move. Dave Chappelle's out here playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And that's all I got to say, man. Go ahead, close us out, brother.
Well said, my brother. Well said. Hey, listen, we want to know your thoughts and comments in our comments section. Like this video, share this video. And if you want to touch on it, hey, please feel free to contact us. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And if you haven't subscribed, we're on obviously YouTube, Apple, Google, Spotify, and iHeart. We love making this content for you guys, and we can't wait to make the next piece. Until next time, I'm Price. That's my man, D. Willie Ashford. It's the Black Culture Podcast. Peace.